Melody. Amid the vibrant streets of Los Angeles, Carmen, Diego, Ana, and Luis had one shared obsession: antique collecting. Their weekends often led them to dusty thrift shops, scouring for rare finds. But on one overcast afternoon, their hunt took an unexpected turn. At a tucked-away stall in a dimly lit antique store, a small ornate music box caught Carmen's eye. It was Mexican in origin, with delicate carvings of roses and the faintest whisper of gold leaf on its wooden surface. The box had an old-world charm, its beauty both elegant and haunting. She turned it over in her hands, noting the name etched beneath the lid: Rafael Castillo. "Who's Rafael Castillo?" Ana asked, squinting at the unfamiliar name. Diego, ever the history enthusiast, leaned in to inspect. He was a composer known for his haunting melodies in the 1800s. Some say his music had unusual power. Some even called it cursed. Luis chuckled, not believing in the supernatural. Power, huh? Probably just some strange folk tales. But Carmen felt something tug at her. The box was light, almost unnaturally so, and when she wound the key and opened it, a soft, melancholy tune filled the air. The sound was unlike anything they'd heard before, beautiful yet unsettling, as if each note carried a forgotten sorrow. "Let's take it," Carmen suggested, her voice almost a whisper. "It's perfect for the collection." The others agreed, but none of them knew that the music box would soon change their lives. That night, as they gathered at Carmen's apartment to admire their latest acquisition, the melody from the music box played on, filling the space with its eerie tune. But soon things began to shift. The temperature dropped, and the shadows in the corners of the room seemed to move. Luis was the first to notice something odd. "Did anyone leave that chair there?" he asked, pointing to an armchair that had mysteriously shifted across the room. "No," Diego answered, his brow furrowed. That wasn't there before." Suddenly, the soft whispers began, low, unintelligible murmurs that seemed to fill the air, barely audible but undeniably present. Carmen clutched the music box, her instincts screaming that something was wrong. Ana stood, her eyes wide with fear. "We need to shut it off. Now." But when Carmen tried to close the box, it wouldn't budge. It was as if the box itself had locked into place, the music growing louder, more insistent. The friends froze as shadows swirled and dark figures began to manifest before them, pale, translucent shapes with hollow eyes. They were the spirits of those long dead, cursed by a melody none had ever completed. The next day, Carmen sat in silence, the weight of what had happened sinking in. She had felt it, an ancient presence, a force not bound by time or logic. She was no stranger to the supernatural. Her Mexican heritage had instilled a deep respect for the unknown, the spirits that lingered in the world. She had heard stories from her abuela of powerful sorcerers, of curses sealed by ancient music, of unfinished compositions that could call the dead. Rafael Castillo, she realized, was no mere composer. He was a practitioner of dark arts, and his most potent magic had been bound within this music box, a vessel for a spell only his descendants could control. "We need help," Carmen whispered. Ana nodded. "Where do we even start?" Carmen's mind raced. She knew of a renowned spiritualist in the city, an older woman with knowledge of the occult. After a tense phone call, they arranged to meet at a small, candlelit shop on the outskirts of the city. The spiritualist, a woman named Maria, listened carefully to Carmen's account of the music box. Her face paled as she heard the name Rafael Castillo. "This box," Maria began, her voice a hushed reverence, "contains the cursed melody of Rafael Castillo, a man who sought to control death itself through his music. He believed his melodies could bridge the gap between the living and the dead. But he left the final composition unfinished. And so the curse remains, waiting for someone to complete it." "We didn't mean to," Carmen said, her voice breaking. "But we opened it, and now we're being haunted. The spirits won't leave us alone." Maria's eyes darkened. "The only way to break the curse is to finish the melody. But there's more, only someone from Castillo's bloodline can do it." Diego, who had remained quiet through most of the conversation, suddenly stiffened. "What do you mean, my bloodline?" Maria's gaze locked onto him, her expression grave. "Diego, you are a descendant of Rafael Castillo. His blood flows in your veins." The revelation hit them like a wave, but there was little time to dwell on it. That night, the spirits grew more aggressive, their whispers turning to wails. Shadows twisted into monstrous forms, reaching for Diego, who could feel the pull of his ancestors' dark power. The malevolent entities sought to use him as a vessel, a bridge to the underworld. "You must finish the melody," Maria urged. "Only then will the spirits be appeased." The friends, now united in their resolve, gathered around Diego as he took the music box. The melody played, but it faltered halfway through, a gap where Castillo's spell had broken. The box was alive with power, and Diego could feel it, deep within him, a connection to his ancestors' cursed magic. But in that moment, as the spirits howled and surged around them, Diego understood. He had to embrace his heritage, his bloodline, and finish what Castillo had started. With trembling hands, Diego closed his eyes and began to play the melody from memory, his fingers guided by something ancient, something beyond him. The music flowed, each note unlocking a door to the past, a history of pain and loss, of magic and death. As the final note echoed in the air, the spirits screamed, their forms dissolving into the ether. The music box clicked shut and silence fell. The next morning, the city was calm, the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The friends sat in stunned silence, the weight of what had happened settling over them. The music box, now inert and quiet, rested on the table before them. "We did it," Anna said, her voice barely above a whisper. Diego looked at the box, a strange sorrow in his eyes. "I didn't just finish the melody," he said quietly. "I became part of it. The curse. It's in me now." And as he gazed at the box, Carmen could see it, the faintest shimmer in his eyes, the echo of an ancient song lingering just beneath the surface.